Lina and Zach, you both just finished your TEFL. How do you feel?
Relieved.
Relieved?
Accomplished.
You feel accomplished? Yeah. Lina, we'll start with you first. Why did you decide to do a TEFL? What was the reason for doing it in your personal decisions?
Well, primarily because I had a lot of non-native speakers that were asking me to help them to improve their language.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas I'm a native speaker and can speak English, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really know how to guide them along or
Yeah.
evaluate where they're at or create a lesson plan or something. So I thought it would be very valuable to take a TEFL course.
Well, we'll come back to you in a minute, Lina, but Zach, for you, what was the sort of origin story for you to come here?
Well, I was working at a grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
selling cheese and beer and wine,
Mm-hmm.
and really that wasn't paying the bills. I needed some real job.
Mm-hmm.
One of my coworkers, who I became real good friends with, she left to go teach in Japan with the JET program.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the opportunity to go visit her and talk to her, visit her in Japan and talk to her. And then she, we'd be walking down the streets, and then just 3 or 4 kids would just run up to her because it was kids from her class, and you could just see on their face, they were so excited to see her. She's doing so much for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so after talking to her about it, I was like, this is, she was the one that really motivated
It's
me.
quite inspirational
Mm-hmm.
when you see the effect of, a teacher on their students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to live overseas, experience a new culture. So
Yeah.
once I saw that what she was doing,
Mm-hmm.
thought I could try my hand at it, and it would get me to the goal that living abroad.
Mm-hmm. Fascinating. So quite different origin stories, but definitely so it makes you sound like superheroes. Isn't it? Origin story. Well, you are in your own way. So Lina, I'm curious about what you're going to take back from this course. Okay, so you're now, I've seen you teach and you've taught extremely well. What are you going to take from this course that you're going to use whenever you get back to Israel, Lina? Is it going to be is it going to be actually doing teaching work? Or do you think you can adapt the methodology that you've received here into maybe some of the other work that you do? I'm curious.
Well, my original intention was to get certified in order to see if it would be possible to get a work visa in Israel with the platform of teaching English at a school or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it'll work out or not, so it's still kind of in the dream stage, I guess, and
Sure.
see if it's possible. But if not, then with my work, it could definitely help with just communicating better with the people I work with, or even the volunteers that come. And also, even if I still could keep the same platform that I have in the country, there's still a lot of private tutoring that I can do with lots of people. Many people have asked me, please help me with my English.
Fantastic. Okay.
So I wouldn't be short of opportunities in that way.
Excellent.
It might not be formal in a school, but
sure. Yeah. Well, no, I would encourage you to seek out school classroom work because you have a real aptitude for it. Zach, what was the biggest thing that you felt you developed, either personally or in regards to your delivery over the 4 weeks?
I think my biggest improvement was my grading of the language. Because as you know, I came in first day, just went like I was talking to somebody else from back at home. Used all my idioms,
It was lovely. I mean, for a C2 class, this would be absolute gold,
But it was for a teen class.
Teen class is low level. Yeah.
So learning how to just grade my language and slow down, and even the simple, just once I say something and they don't understand, just rephrasing it to kind of not dumb down, and so they would understand it, and just how to interact with this class. Because I came in. No teaching experience, never, I taught people how to cut cheese when I had new people coming in, but as a teacher in a classroom, no experience. So coming in, I was fairly nervous. But after 4 weeks, I got class on Monday.
Brilliant, yes. And you are staying in Prague, and you're going to be working here?
I have about 22 classes a week.
Okay, good. So you're going straight in at the deep end.
Yes.
Yeah, good to hear. But I mean, it was certainly obvious watching you teach that at the beginning, there was less interaction with the class, and then by the end of your process of the 4 weeks, it was this sort of, you developed this really symbiotic kind of relationship with the students where they were giving you so much of the information and you were able to pull that out of them. I felt that was definitely a big part of your development, not just the grading of language. Lina, for you, you had some experience in delivery already, but what did you feel you developed when you were here doing English teaching? Learning the first conditional. Was it? Well, I can't remember. Yeah, it was first conditional yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what was really new for me was like how to do error correction, elicitation, CCQing, like these kinds of things. I mean, conceptually I knew what that was and that it's something that you should do, but had no idea how to do it. And I haven't done necessarily formal teaching in front of a classroom. I've done presentations or something that's more relaxed, but nothing in this kind of capacity. So even in my mid-course evaluation, I was like, I'm learning so much about how to elicit, how to give error corrections and all that. And over the 4 weeks, I see that I have an idea of how to do it. I can still improve in it, but at least I've tried it and know where to go from here. Excellent.
No, I mean, the development has been clear for everyone in the group, actually. I'm curious about you've talked about sort of things that you found useful about the course. If you were talking to people back home or in the fields of work that you have just left, like what would you recommend about coming here to Threshold to Barrelbuff? Would be anything, Zach, that you would say, okay, choose them because?
Well, for one, all the teachers and all the staff here, like I came over here, no connections. I knew nobody that lived in Prague. I knew nobody that really had been to Prague. So I came over here.
Complete blank slate.
Yes.
Yep.
And just being from the first day, all the teachers, like, they weren't just like, teacher, like, you can't approach. They were like very friendly. All the teachers here are great.
Good, that's good to hear.
And the atmosphere is just, like, it's a very intensive course. You have 130 hours in 4 weeks. But it's, like, classes are fun. They're enjoyable. You're not just sitting there dead, like, learning. You're interacting with everything.
Yeah, we try and run the input sessions as much sort of modelling what we expect from you guys in teaching practice sessions. So that's good to hear, and it's good to hear, like, because I came to Prague in the same situation, like complete blank slate, and so you've sort of the doors have opened for you. And Lina, for you, why would you recommend Prague TEFL here at Threshold? Would there be any one thing you might say to people back home? Okay, if you're going to do a TEFL, do it there.
Well, some of the similar things that Zach talked about. I mean, actually, me coming to Prague was more of an accident in some senses because I had gone through the website ITTT and so they just list countries and places where you can do it, and I was planning on going to a place closer to Israel. But the dates didn't actually match up with my schedule.
What was available?
And so I started looking at places in Europe, and the dates in Prague worked with my schedule, and I saw that there was like good reviews about it, so I was like, all right, it seems to be a good option, so I just clicked on it. But I've really enjoyed being here. It is intensive, but I've really enjoyed a lot of the feedback that I get from the teachers, and even though sometimes when you have a teaching session that maybe didn't go as well as you hoped, we've all experienced that.
It's true.
And you're like, oh no, I don't want to get the feedback, but your balance of positives and negatives really helps, because oftentimes I want to critique myself a lot harsher than the teachers do. Like, they're very gracious. So even when I feel like I didn't do well, I'm still encouraged by the feedback, just that, okay, here's the good things that you did, here's the areas that you can work through, and even though it didn't go as planned, the students still learned something. So it was very helpful for me, because I tend to be more of a perfectionist. I want to do it perfectly. So, and that's just not real life when it comes to teaching, or actually lots of areas. But
yeah, it's true. And a similar thing myself. But it's great whenever you can reflect on things that don't go so well and still get benefits from it. And you know, you both had good days and bad days, but like it was always for the greater good that you improved, you know. So
there's a couple classes I'm thinking back to. And I sat down and I was like, I don't want to hear anything anybody has to say.
Can I just go home, please?
This is going to be bad.
Well, that's a fair point, like, just Zach, about the feedback that we give. I mean, have you received that kind of feedback before, that type of feedback that we give? Or is that new for you?
That was new for me.
Okay,
like the whole, because usually, like in my experience, when I do something, like my feedback is either the teacher or whoever, one-on-one, this is what you did wrong. Work on this.
Yeah.
But here it's, so you did this, and this right. Everybody, what did you observe? What can you fix? And then it's not what you did wrong, it's what you can improve on. Because unless you just absolutely don't do it, you really don't do anything wrong. You just do what you need to, or you improve on what you already do.
Yeah, I think it's looking at why things maybe don't work out the way you expected, and then once you figured out the why, then you can do it better the next time. Lina, had you received this kind of feedback before in any of your, you know, sort of getting peers to give you some feedback, and the trainer giving feedback, and you reflecting on yourself? Are you familiar with that type of thing?
Not that I know of. Not that I can think of at the moment.
That's interesting. Yeah, I just wanted to check, because sometimes people have had that experience before, but in some cases we've had people come here from schools and even universities, and they've never sort of experienced that style of like self-reflection. So I'm glad to hear that. It's been absolutely charming having you on the course. So I wish you well with I wish you well with your 22 hours next week. And Lina, good luck back in Israel, because it sounds like you're doing good work. So yeah, you've been great to have on the course. Okay.